Welcome to the membership office hours. My name is Keisman Tramer, and I will be your presenter this morning. I also have Sandra Perez assisting me this morning. She will be fielding your questions in the chat today. I hope everyone is doing well. I know this is a very busy time for all of us, right? We're all focused on the upcoming NMSP compliance score deadline, right? And so this will be our main topic of discussion
Okay.
for today. Our goal is to allow you really to just get your questions answered regarding the upcoming compliance deadline, financial records, or anything that's related to membership policies and procedures.
You still
I'm
have
going
that
to go
membership
through.
office hours, the big
Yes.
screen?
Okay. Can we make sure you guys mute your mics, please? Thank you.
I don't
I'm
hear
going
anything.
to I'm going to go through a few slides this morning, and then we'll take your questions at the end. Hopefully, the slides will spark some questions for today. But before we get started, I just want to talk about some of the issues that we are currently experiencing on our end. As you may or may not know, we're in the process of transitioning from Rapatoni to IMUS. We're running both systems simultaneously until we get all of our systems connected to IMUS, which includes the BCT. And so, as of right now, the membership department is the only department at C.A.R. that is still using Rapatoni. The issue is the version of Rapatoni that we're using is no longer being supported by Rapatoni. And so, our Rapatoni system is really just on its last leg. The reason why we're still using Rapatoni is because that's how the BCT gets updated. We use the data from Rapatoni to update the BCT. The other issue is we're not getting all of the ads and changes and financial records from M1. We're getting the data, but we're not getting all of the data for some reason. But the good news is we have a process in place to capture all of the financial records from M1. This means if you have a member with a financial record on M1, but they still show unpaid on the BCT, those records will get updated before the deadline. And so, leading up to this deadline is going to be extremely important for you to stay focused on your data to ensure that it's not out of sync with the BCT, and you want to focus on your NMSP score and not your realtor score because this is the score that we'll be using for compliance. And so, what this means is all associations must have a 97% or higher NMSP score by the March 31st deadline. Again, we're not looking at your realtor score. We're basing the compliance deadline off of your NMSP score. As of today, we are approximately 25 days away from the March 31st deadline. And just to give you some stats with regard to the compliance deadline, we have 57 associations that are currently out of compliance, and we have 59 associations that will be out of compliance within the next 15 days or less because they have one or two NMSPs in their grace period that will be delinquent on or before the deadline. So again, we have 25 days until the deadline, but the good news is Sandra and I are definitely here to assist you. And so, leading up to every compliance checkpoint, we send out two preliminary compliance letters to the AE and the board president. The first communication is scheduled to go out to the AEs on Monday, March 17th. And this communication will include your NMSP compliance score as of March 17th. The second communication is scheduled to go out to your board president on Monday, March 24th, and it will contain your NMSP compliance score as of the 24th. Now, the reason why we send this out to your board president is because number one, it is required by our legal department. And number two, so that your board presidents are not caught off guard if their association is out of compliance by the deadline and they get called into a hearing. Now, again, their communication specifically says the score is preliminary and the association still has time to meet the 97% compliance objective. And so your board president is aware that the association, again, still has time to meet the objective if you are out of compliance when the communication is sent out. So, what key priorities should local associations be focused on leading up to the deadline? Well, local associations should be focused on your delinquent records and your NMSPs in the grace period that will be delinquent within the next 15 days or less. So from your BCT dashboard, you can easily identify your delinquent records from two sections. Number one, under the NMSP score, there's a count next to the delinquent, and number two, you can view your delinquents by clicking the delinquent section. These are the two places where you can view the list of your delinquent non-members, and if you click on any of those sections, it will display your delinquent non-members. And so from here, you can sort your list by DR and then send a communication out to your brokers regarding their non-member agents. And so now you just want to get a communication out to your brokers regarding their delinquent NMSPs and the NMSPs that will be delinquent within the next 15 days. And so in the communication that you send out to your broker, you also want to include the options that are available to the broker when it comes to the issues regarding their non-member agents. So let's talk about the options the brokers have concerning their NMSPs. And so in order for the association to become compliant, the broker will need to determine how these non-member agents will be operating, right? And so in the communication that you send out to your broker, you will need to include a deadline for them to respond, and you will need to include the options available to the broker. So the broker has four options. The broker can pay the non-member fee. The broker can remove the agent's license, which puts the agent's license in MBA status. The agent can join as a realtor, or the broker can certify the agent as a LIFRO by signing the LIFRO certification form. Now, if the broker does not respond or take action by the deadline that you set, then you want to send a final communication that says your membership will be inactivated on whatever date that you set. Now, excuse me, keep in mind, you never want to inactivate your brokers on a Friday. You don't ever want your brokers to go an entire weekend without being able to work, right? So you want to inactivate your brokers Monday through Thursday, but never on a Friday. So how can the membership department support the associations leading up to the deadline? What are we willing to do to help ensure that you're compliant by the deadline? So here's what we're willing to do. If you have agents whose license status becomes licensed MBA, or the record and the record is still showing up on your BCT and impacting your NMSP score, we will add them to the DRE exemption list. You just need to send us an email with their name and NERDS ID number, and we will update our records, and then you will see the update on the BCT the very same day. If you have members that paid their dues and they have a 2025 financial record on M1, and then that member becomes terminated for not completing their COE requirements or any other requirements, we can add them to an exemption list as well. If you have non-members with a financial record on M1, but they still show up on the BCT as unpaid, they will also be added to a temporary exemption list until we can get that financial record processed and updated on the BCT. And so your role in this process is to send us an email and include the member's name and NERDS ID number. And our role is to get the records updated so that you can see the update on the BCT and so that you can see the increase in your NMSP score. Now, I just want to mention, if you have agents that are licensed MBA or their license is expired, you want to make sure that you check DRE first to ensure that it shows licensed MBA on DRE, or if the license date shows expired, you also want to make sure that it shows expired on DRE, and at that point we can add them to the DRE exemption list. Also, you want to check M1 to confirm that the financial record appears on M1 if we are adding someone to the paid exemption list. And so again, these are the steps that we are going to take to assist you so that we can really ensure that every association is compliant by the deadline. So just a quick recap. Local associations should be focused on delinquent NMSPs and those entering into the delinquent section within the next 15 days. You also want to be focused on members that are eligible for an exemption. In those cases, you want to send an email to me and to Sandra. Also, the March 31st deadline applies exclusively to your NMSP score and not your realtor score. And then last, you want to avoid deactivating brokers on a Friday. So real quick, let's talk about the compliance procedures that we follow after each deadline has passed. So we are going to take a snapshot of the NMSP scores on Monday, March 31st at 6 p.m. We will notify C.A.R. Legal and the leadership team regarding non-compliant associations on Monday, March 31st as well. Non-compliant AORs will receive a notification that will be sent out to the AE and the board president during the first week of April regarding an appearance for a hearing during the business meetings in Sacramento. But our goal is always to prevent any associations from having to go to a hearing. That is really our main goal. We really just want to make sure that all associations are compliant by the March 31st deadline. All right, so let's talk about members transferring to another association before the financial record is uploaded to M1. I'm sure you all have experienced this, right? You know, because this is that time of the year where members are going online, they're paying their dues, and then they decide to transfer to another association after they have paid their dues with you, right? So the question is, what happens if a member transfers to another association before the financial record is uploaded to M1? Well, the member's record must be transferred back to the original association. This means the original association will need to transfer the record back to their association by doing a POE transfer in M1. The financial record must then be added to M1 before the record can be transferred back to the new association. So these are the steps that you must follow in order to resolve this issue. Number one, the original association will need to transfer the member's record back to their association. The original association must upload or manually add the financial record to M1. C.A.R.'s finance department will process the financial record once we receive it from M1. Once the financial record has been processed, the record can then be transferred back to the new association. This process usually takes between 24 and 48 hours to complete, as long as both associations are communicating with one another. So why is this important? It's important because if these steps are not taken, the monthly reconciliation report and the BCT will show that the new association owes dues for the member. So the best practice is local associations should first verify that a current financial record is present in the member's profile on M1 before initiating a transfer. I think that alone will resolve 99% of those issues, right? Also, when dues are collected, the financial record must be uploaded to M1 and the dues money must be submitted to C.A.R. Within 15 days. So here are some key takeaways from what we just covered. Number one, always verify that a current financial record is present in the member's profile on M1 before you initiate a transfer. Number two, always upload the financial record to M1 promptly when dues are collected. Number three, you want to ensure that the payment is sent through e-commerce within 15 days. And then number three, delays in the process can lead to issues with member dues transfers, members getting access to zip forms, and inaccurate dues reporting, which is one of the things that we really just want to try to prevent. Also, we have created a membership resource page for association staff. This is simply just another resource hub that you can access to hopefully just make your lives a little easier. You can access this resource page directly from the link on this slide, which will be available to everyone after this session. All right, and so this is that time where we will take any questions that you have for us. So I'll stop sharing my screen because this is really what office hours is really all about, just making sure that you get your answers, questions leading up to every deadline. Do we have any questions?
We have Veronica with her hand raised.
Hey, Veronica.
Hi, Keisman, how are you?
Good.
Good. So I'm going to bug you again. Just wanted to know if you have any updates on possibly incorporating the broker emails on the BCT reports.
So I did mention that to our programmers. I had a meeting with both of our programmers, and they did assure me that they can definitely get that added to the BCT. I believe you will see it added after this compliance deadline ends because there's a lot of changes that's coming. One of the things that I'm really hoping to take place after this deadline is that our IMIS system will be connected to the BCT. Here's what I've noticed. Since we're using IMIS and Rapatoni, I noticed that IMIS has the correct information from M1. All of the changes that we're getting from M1 is appearing in IMIS, but when I look at the Rapatoni system, we're not getting all of the data. And so I'm really excited about us going from Rapatoni to IMIS, and I think the associations will be more excited as well because you're going to see a lot of clean data in the BCT going forward once we make that change or that transition.
Thank you, Keisman. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh. Hey, Kamisha.
Keisman. So I have a question regarding the commercial agents that are showing up on RPC.
Okay.
They seem to be showing up every time. So can you explain why? Like even if like I send you guys a list to put them on that exemption, they're still showing up even though they've been processed as active non-members.
Okay. I'll definitely need to like go through some examples on our end because if you send us a list, what we're doing is we're adding them to the commercial exemption. But if you're not seeing it, if you're not seeing those records show as NA on your BCT, meaning it should no longer impact your NMSP score, send me and Sandra an email so that we can research that. If it's a technical issue on our side, then I'll definitely need to run that by our programmers so that they can, resolve that issue as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Cynthia. We had a broker member who opted not to renew with us this year.
Okay.
So she was deactivated and she's showing up in M1 in our system and in M1 now as deactivated non-members.
Okay.
For two agents are were also deactivated and put down as and they're that way in our system as well as in M1.
Okay.
But for some reason they were showing up on our list. So I went in and I said, oh, okay, maybe her office is still active, and it was. So I deactivated that in our system and in M1, but they're still showing up on our list.
Yeah.
So just wanted to see what I could do to get
Yes.
them off. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for that, Cynthia. So again, we are experiencing some issues with the data that we're getting from M1 into our Rapatoni system. So it is going to be important for the associations to bring that to our attention. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Cynthia. So in this case, what you would do is you would send me and Sandra an email of those members that have been inactivated, because if they're still, especially the broker, because the broker controls all of the
Yeah.
records, which means once you inactivate the broker, it should impact the agents as well. But if they're still showing on your BCT, that means that we need to go into our Rapatoni system and update the member status. And once we do that, you'll see the change on the BCT today. So if you send us an email, we'll make that change today. And by the end of the day, you'll see the update on the BCT. Did that answer your question, Cynthia? All right, maybe Cynthia didn't like that answer.
Oh, no, I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
I know, I'm just
I
kidding,
think
Cynthia.
my stupid internet cut out. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
no, it's all good.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna email you, but I thought I'll try one more time, and then I said, oh, I'll deactivate the office. That should do it now. But then it didn't, so
Yep, no,
that's why I'm bringing it up.
no, thank you. Yeah, once you send us that email, we'll take care of it today, and you'll see the update on the BCT today.
Okay, thank you so much, Keith.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Uh-huh. Anastasia?
Oh, that Capricorn charm and humor. So let me ask you this. I know that this time of year it updates, it seems to update pretty much every day.
Yes,
You're not right. Typically throughout the year, like the rest of the year, is it the same?
it
Because
is.
I've made okay, because the reason I ask is I've made changes to records that, whatever, referral, and expecting it to come off, especially when we're doing, your NMSP score. And
Yep.
I've noticed that it's not. And I've been working with Sandra. Thank you, Sandra, for helping me the other day. I sent her a whole list of, we have like 100 records that are all paid and they're not showing up. And she was very, very good at helping me with that. We're still waiting. They have not yet updated in here. It
Okay.
looks like maybe some of the referrals that the list that I gave her did, but it's not updating. So I'm just curious to see if there's something else I could do.
Yeah, so if you've already sent Sandra a list,
Mhm.
she and I will go over because I actually sent a financial report to our programs, because we do have a system in place where we're able to capture the missing financial records, and our programmers can process it and update the BCT. And so I just need to compare the list that you sent her to see if they were included on the list that I sent to our programmers. If they're not on that list, then I'm planning to send, I usually send our programmers a financial file on Friday for the missing financial records. And you'll usually see the updates on the BCT by Tuesday. Uh,
Okay.
so she and I will get together. We'll take a look at that list. If they're not on that list, I have another list that I'm going to send out to our programmers on Friday.
Okay. Sounds good. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I'm supposed to do and I'll just hold tight with them.
Perfect. Thank you, Anastasia. Hey, Sam.
Sorry. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. This is related more to the fair housing. So for fair housing for new member, do you know how many day grace period do we give them?
Hey, did you remember the meeting?
Say that one more time.
Sorry, for the fair housing for new member who are joining, do you know how many day we should be giving them for grace period to complete fair housing along with code of ethic? Does it supposed to match code of ethic grace period?
Yeah, so the deadline to complete this is 12/31/2027. So,
Okay,
but for your new members, they should actually be completing the code of ethics
mhm,
with your new member orientation.
right,
As far as fair housing, I still need to get additional information um, as far as how that works with new members.
got it. Thank you.
And also, once I get that information, that is going to be sent out to all of the associations. That is one of the things that has not been really discussed with me as of yet. Any other questions? No questions. All right, so this is when I need the music in the background, when it gets too quiet. All right, Sam, did you raise your hand again?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Just
no,
a follow up. So for those for member who renewed the license, this is back to fair housing. For new member who renewed their license in 2025, I know that some of them show that they have complete fair housing. Is that true for all member moving forward if they renew it in 2025?
yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any questions in the chat, Sandra?
No questions in the chat. I don't know if you want to mention the out of state. If they're primary with another association, the association in California is still, if they're attached to their broker, is still gonna show on your BCT.
Sandra, sorry, but the chat's disabled, my dear.
All right, so what Sandra was mentioning was for secondary out-of-state members. So if a secondary out-of-state member is hanging their license with a broker, and we inactivate, and you inactivate their secondary record on M1, C.A.R. also needs to go in and inactivate California as the secondary state association. But you also want to make sure that their license is no longer hanging with the broker, or that individual will still appear on your BCT as a non-member. And so the broker just needs to determine, if that licensee is going to operate as a LIFRO. Most likely they're not going to pay the non-member fee, or if that agent is going to rejoin as a realtor member, or if the agent is just going to drop their license, which puts it in MBA status. So anytime you come across those, if they're still appearing on your BCT, definitely send us an email so we can research it as well, and then we can communicate together to figure out how to resolve that issue together. Hey, Sylvia.
Hi, I don't know what happened to the raise the hand feature on mine, but it's gone. And I apologize, I came in a little late. So if you've already answered this, sorry.
No, it's all good.
I have quite a bit of people who on the BCT says that they haven't paid, but they have paid. So
Yeah.
what is it that I needed to bring to you guys?
So in those cases, you would just send us a list. One of the things that I was mentioning to the group was we are experiencing some issues with receiving records from M1 into our Rapid-Tony system. And it's really temporary because we're moving from Rapid-Tony to IMUS. And so in order to resolve this issue, we have another system in place where we can capture the missing records. And so if you send us a list, I just like to make sure that the list that I'm sending to our programmers to process, that your records are included in that file. That really just lets me know that these records are going to process successfully in our system, and you'll see it updated on the BCT. So the next list that I'm sending out to our programmers is tomorrow. So if you send us a list, I can make sure that they're included in that list, or I can look at the list that I just recently sent them to see if they're in that file.
Okay, and so when I send you my list, do you just want the agent name with the EC control number?
The name and the NERDS ID number.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Ryan, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm real quick. For members that have paid but are inactivated for missing the ethics deadline back in
Yes.
December 2024, we send you a list if they're showing up on our BCT for exemption, correct?
That is correct, because once you inactivate a realtor member, they automatically become a non-member. And so they are going to show up on your BCT and it will have a negative impact on your score. But if they paid 2025 dues, then yes, you want to send us an email because we're going to add them to an exemption list so that they don't impact your score.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Howard.
Hey, Keesman, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. You had mentioned a couple exemption lists. One was ethics. Could you re-mention or surface the one about the DRE and the license exemption list?
Yes. So if you have a licensee where their license is now showing licensed MBA or expired or restricted, and they're still appearing on your BCT, we will add them to the DRE exemption list so that they will no longer impact your score.
Perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Keesman, I have a quick question.
Thanks, Rita.
Hey, so, and I'm hoping that I don't experience this again. I do have neighboring associations that have some of my members that the broker is primary here with us. It seems like if they make a change with that agent on their end, because the broker is primary with us, it'll pop up on my BCT. Sometimes we're not always in sync, and sometimes they'll make a last minute change. That person will pop up on my BCT.
Yep.
They'll be delinquent, and then my score goes down. Is there any type of way? Because right now I'm at 100, but I know that I share a lot of members with C.A.R and Lodi, and if they happen to make a change and the broker's primary with me, it drops my score.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Sarita, that is a valid concern because, you know, we're really expecting all of the associations to, you know, inactivate all unpaid members, you know, at a certain time. And it's usually before, you know, February 28th. But then we had another deadline for members that did not complete Code of Ethics. And so I'm hoping between February 28th and March 1st that all members have been, you know, inactivated either for non-payment or for not meeting Code of Ethics, and they're not waiting until, you know, March 28th to inactivate, you know, a member. And so it there's no way for us to control it, you know what I mean? But if you come across something like that, reach out to me and let's just see how we can get that worked out.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The chat has been enabled if anyone has questions.
No questions?
Can
think
I just ask a follow-up to Sarita's point? So let's just say, for the sake of argument, like C.A.R makes a change to something that we share with, right? And you know, in the BCT, you know, it gives you like there's a timeline. It gives you like 60 days, 30 days. So does that immediately hit and bring our score down, or does it give you the time to correct it, depending on what it is?
It just depends on if that member was ever in the grace period. So depending on if they've already cycled through the grace period, they may end up already delinquent.
That's kind of shady, don't you think? It's kind of sketchy.
I see Jennifer shaking her head like, yes, that is a little shady.
Just saying.
One of the things that we are looking at is how the BCT calculates, you know, the NMSP score and other things, you know, related to the programming within the BCT, because the BCT was created, you know, years ago. And so we really do need to revamp the BCT. Our programmers is looking into it. I will say we are looking into making some changes to the BCT.
I just feel like we're adopting the dog that got returned 3 times sometimes. Just saying.
You know, sometimes it is unfair where those members appear on the BCT when they're inactivated. We are aware of it, so that's one of the things that we are looking to make some changes to as we you know, look to upgrade the BCT.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I will say we may not see a major upgrade to the BCT until after we're exclusively using IMUS, meaning the BCT is now connected to IMUS and they're both talking. Once that happens, then our programmers for sure have promised that they are going to be looking to make some changes to the BCT. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, Keisman. So to Sarita's point, I've often had that concern because it's happened where we run really close
Mhm.
to the deadline and then we see, a member that puts us out of compliance.
Yes.
So we're watching it up to the very last minute, right? So what I found to be helpful is I take a screenshot of my BCT score,
Okay.
right? The deadline date. So if it were to change and we were to be, non-compliant with C.A.R, then at least we use that as leverage saying, look, we complied by the certain date. So if it's out of compliance, it was something that was out of our control. Would that be something that would work or be acceptable? Because that's how I see it, that we can protect ourselves.
Yeah, I think in those cases, definitely send me an email because one of the things that, we would be willing to do is, add that member to a temporary exemption because we can actually follow the trail. We can actually see that this member was primary, with another association, and we can look at the date stamp to see that, the association inactivated the member at this point in time. And so in that case, to be fair, we would be willing to add those members to a temporary exemption. Now, if it's 1,000 members, that would be kind of tough. But hopefully, it's just those one-offs, and we'll definitely assist the associations for sure. I don't even need to reach out to my legal department or anything like that. We can make that decision on our own and get the change done.
Thank you, Keisman.
You're welcome.
Hi, Keisman, I have a question in the chat.
Yes.
It says, if a secondary broker wants the secondary association to make their agents LFRO candidate, even though they are not the primary.
Yes. Wait. Is this broker an out of state?
No, just secondary with the other association.
No, those agents have to fall under the broker's primary association. The broker's primary association is responsible for managing the broker's LFRO agents, non-members, and MLOs.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions?
The 4 options for the template, they want to know where they can find the template letter with the 4 options that the broker has. We're going to be sending out the slides so you can find them in the slide, and then I'll go ahead and make a template that we can upload to the membership webpage. That way, when you go, it'll be under the information for the brokers that you can always reference to.
Perfect. Thank you. That was it. All right. Well, again, we will be sending out the recording of this training session. I believe it's going out tomorrow. I'm not sure if Sandra's going to be able to get it out today because she still has to make some updates to the recording before we send it out. But for sure, the training session will be going out tomorrow, as well as the PowerPoint slides. If you guys have any questions, after this session is over, please feel free to send us an email. And we'll definitely get back to you today. So I just want to say thank you for joining us today, because this session would not be possible without you. If you wasn't here, I would just be practicing today. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, everybody.